Hey guys, it's Daniel from the Back Clinic here, and today we're going to touch upon a topic related to if you have pain when it comes to arching your lower back. So I'm going to explain what that means, but essentially the topic we're discussing today is spinal extension sensitivity. Now, I'm not going to touch upon the physiological causes, meaning, for example, if you have a herniated disc or not. Instead, I'm going to touch upon the movement basis of it all, which is one of the three core principles I teach my clients at the Back Clinic. So, essentially, extension sensitivity is when you feel pain in your lower back when you extend your lower spine, when you arch your lower back. Imagine somebody tickles you and you arch your lower back, right? Or if you have the big O, for example, in certain cases. And if you're dealing with pain when it comes to spinal extension, we're going to dive deep today into what you can do, like real world practical application. The first thing I'm going to share is, if you haven't done so already, look at incorporating some training for your lateral core. This could be anything from side planks, side bends, but typically like begin with either side lying leg raises or side planks. And you can look this up. I don't need to make a demonstration for you. There are literally thousands of videos showing the same thing. I'm here to facilitate the macro thought of how to essentially fix your low back. So I won't bother creating what's already been created. Given that, the reason you want to do that, for example, is because if you do that, it'll be harder for your lower back and pelvis to rotate backwards, because something, basically, the lateral muscles, the muscles of your sides, will be a bit more contracted. And this in turn causes a bit less movement forward and backwards. So, with that in mind, what can you do? Well, we're talking about movement hygiene in terms of spinal extension sensitivity. So, with that in mind, here are some practical applications. Number one, first of all, like it may sound ridiculously simple, but stop arching your lower back. And what's ironious about extension sensitivity is that typically once you've started to deal with it, your low back will try to extend further to prevent the pain. Meaning, if you have pain in a certain range of motion when you're extending your lower back, it's not uncommon for one of the two following to happen. Either your low back will extend further, or your spine will flatten out. I've had both happen to me, and I've dealt with it when it comes to clients. So, what you're going to want to do is the following. Take a piece of paper or a notepad, then make a list. Make a list of the movements that aggravate your lower back. It could be picking something off the floor. And before I give you another example, I want to break down the movement of picking something up off the floor. Okay? You can do it in multiple different ways. Chances are the way you're doing it is actually hurting you, because it's producing a signal of pain, right? Continue with the list. You might have 2 items on the list. You might have 5. Now, the next thing you're going to do, once you have the completed list, is to begin moving differently. So for example, if you've never bent your knees to pick up something off of the floor, start doing it, test it out. Okay, if you're not working with a coach, then some experimentation is needed to find out what's going to work for you. Go. I'm going to throw some suggestions at you. Experiment with doing a one-legged Romanian deadlift. Look it up. Hundreds of videos on YouTube demonstrating the exact same thing, so there's no point in re-recording that. Look up, what else can you look up? You can also look up just squatting down while maintaining a braced core, a regular squat. The major point of this is that you want to get creative, unless you're working with a coach that can direct you, and find ways where you can achieve the same objective that the movement that is painful is currently causing you, without triggering it without triggering pain. Treat it like a challenge. Every painful movement, every time you set out to do it, you want to do it pain-free. If you do it pain-free, you have succeeded with that one rep, and over time you build the habit of moving pain-free. Now, some people will argue that, well, you should be able to move your spine throughout all kinds of different range of motion. True, but not when you're injured. When you're injured, the first goal is to reduce pain sensitivity. And I'm not even talking about healing the damaged tissue just yet. I'm just talking about reducing pain sensitivity and moving in a way that won't make things worse. Yep. Moving on. The next thing you're going to want to pay attention to is the little things, because the devil is in the details. And what I mean by that is that there will be a certain attention to detail that's easy to miss, and that actually has to do with your breathing pattern. So what I want you to do is, when you're standing upright, put a hand on your low back and see if your low back tenses up as you inhale normally. For some people it actually does, and then looking up some diaphragmatic breathing will be of help. I had a client once where his part of his pain came from his breathing pattern, because with every inhale his lower back would tighten up. Now imagine what happens to a muscle that's constantly tightening up. Like if you're training, which you should be, then you know what happens after a sufficient amount of contractions, irregardless of the intensity, right? You don't need me to explain that for you, hopefully. So here are some basic, there we had some basic considerations for what to pay attention to when it comes to spinal extension sensitivity. Done.